The first thing you will need is a round gift box. You can do away with the top. It doesn't matter what it says on it. You don't need it. You're going to need to coat it with some type of paint. I'm using spray paint, but you can use anything you want. The reason for doing this is because I'm going to be adding fabric on there, and you don't want any of the print underneath to shine through. The fabric that I'm using is a flannel, but you can use any type of fabric that you want. You can use any color you want. Just make it your own. The main thing is to make sure that you get a big enough piece of fabric that'll fit around your box. Now, if you are making more than one of these, it may make sense to measure it out and all that and do your cuts. But since I'm only doing one, I'm just wrapping it around the box, making sure that I overlap the fabric, and then I'm going to cut down the side. You're going to want to make sure you cut past the length of the box. That way you have extra. It's always better to have extra than not enough. Don't want to waste that fabric. It's too expensive. But anyway, I just cut a slit on each side of the fabric so that I would have a guide as to how long I wanted to cut it. Then I took it and folded it and cut it the rest of the way. And of course, gotta double check, make sure I didn't goof up by cutting it too short. And I didn't, so we're golden. Now you can use Mod Podge or whatever, but I'm gonna be using this spray adhesive. You're gonna wanna protect your surface because this stuff is sticky as all get out. You're gonna wanna place the fabric wrong side up, which means pretty side down, and give it a good spray. You're gonna wanna take your fabric and line it up with the top of the box. And the top of the box is the open side. And just wrap it around, and you can smooth it down with your hand. If you use the selvage edge like I did, that's the part you're going to want to cover up. You will need 2 packs of these bamboo rings from the Dollar Tree, and for this particular size box we're going to be using the 2 smallest rings from the pack. I took them outside and gave them a good coat of the white paint that I used earlier. I had this idea to use thumbtacks. That was a fail. Don't do it. As you can see, I was trying to push them in there. It's too hard. Then I tried to hammer them in there, and you just crack the wood. So, not worth the time. So, I went into my toolbox and pulled out this wall hanging kit and found these little eye bolts or eye hooks, whatever they are. Anyway, they would work perfect. Now, you can go ahead and screw them in by hand, but I'm going to go easy on me and drill some pilot holes. I used a 1/16 drill bit, which is the smallest I had, so I only drilled one hole at first, and then I screwed in the hook to make sure that the hole wasn't too big. So when you start to put the screws in, make sure that you don't go all the way through, because if you go all the way through, it's not going to fit over the box drum. We're making a drum. It's not going to fit over the drum if the tips of the screws are poking through. From the first hole, you're going to kind of want to measure it out, make sure that you get all of your holes evenly spaced. A tip for doing the second ring is take some masking tape, or any kind of tape, doesn't matter. Just take some tape and tape the 2 rings together. Just make sure that you tape between the holes. Don't tape over the hole. And 2 pieces of tape opposite from each other will hold it together just fine. And now you can just go in and drill next to each hole. Next, you're going to want to screw in all the eye hooks, again making sure that you don't poke through the back. And then it will be time to add some glue, and I'm going to use some clear tacky glue. Add a bead of glue all the way around the rim of the top, and try not to go too heavy because when we go to put the ring on top, that glue is going to move and you don't want it running down the sides or anything like that. Then you're going to want to carefully place the ring over the top and making sure the top of the ring and the top of the box are flush. And you shouldn't have to clamp it or anything to hold it in place, because all you have to do is screw in the eye hooks just a little bit into the box. And you need to stop where the top of the hook is running up and down, where the opening is on the sides, if that makes sense. Then you're going to want to glue on the bottom ring. So I will try to do it a little different this time, just to see if I get a different result. See which way is better so I can let you know. And what I found is gluing the inside of the ring or gluing the box, either one, don't make a difference. You're going to get the same result as long as you don't put too much glue on there. Make sure the eye hooks on this end are centered between the eye hooks on the opposite end. You're going to want to do the exact same thing and place it over it. Make sure it's flush. Here is the reason why I use tacky glue. Because if you don't get it lined up just right, you can pull it back off without tearing up your project and then readjust it. Now all that's left to do is to finish screwing in the hooks just like we did on the opposite side. And then we're on to the last step. I got this cord trim from Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to start at the back where the seam is and run it through the first eye hook and then go down to the bottom, go back to the top, and just keep doing that all the way around. When you get to the end, you're going to want to leave some extra and then clip it off. Hold the two ends in your hand while you go around and pull out the slack at each eye hook. This will keep it from looking loose and sloppy. Now all that's left to do is to tie a knot and clip it as close as you can. This tree collar turned out way better than I had envisioned, and I hope y'all like it as much as I do. Another idea you could do is cut out a circle on a foam sheet and glue it to the top of the drum. Then take 2 candy sticks or wooden dowels and glue styrofoam balls to the end of each one. And there you have 2 little drumsticks. Then you can just display it as a decorative piece on a table or on a tray. Another thing you can do is just tuck that thing right down into a tree and use it as an ornament. If you want to make some even smaller, you can use these little boxes over there at the Crafter Square at Dollar Tree. Another idea is to get 3 different size gift boxes. You will need some cardstock, ribbon, and of course some fabric. This time you will glue cardstock to the top of the gift boxes. Then all you will need to do is hot glue your ribbon to each one. I started off by hot gluing the narrow ribbon on first. And I'm running the ribbon in a zigzag pattern, but you don't have to do that. You can make any design you want. Then I added the wider ribbon or trim to the top and the bottom. And that was it. I think these would look good stacked on a shelf or a mantle, or even sitting next to a tree. As you can see, just by changing a few things like the color fabric you use, using hardware or not using hardware, adding drumsticks, however you display it, you can change the look to match your own decor. I never thought these gift boxes would be like a hidden gem to me, but they absolutely are. I'm definitely going to be making more of them to match my granddaughter's tree. Go over and watch how I made some ornaments for her tree. And I have some more coming up.